Good evening, everyone. Broadcasting live March 17th. Hopefully the audio's working fine. Tonight's quote actually seems a lot like a repeat, and on the face of it is a pretty simple quote. Buddhist Nandya asks, it's an interesting question. If we only look at the first part of the quote, we might not jump to the answer. We might not immediately think of the answer. I think I did. I think when I read it, I was like, oh, I know what he's going to say. Of course. Oh no, actually, once he said the 8 things. He said there are 8 things. So he said, what conditions when developed and practiced lead to nirvana? Have nirvana as their goal, culminate in nirvana. And he says there are Nandya 8 things. And then of course we know what he's going to say. 8 things, when you develop 8 things, when you practice 8 things, it leads to nirvana. They have nirvana as their goal. They culminate in nirvana. And of course then he says the Eightfold Noble Paths. Right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. It's so simple quote. We might not have much to say about it, except it interests me particularly, having just written an article on some what I would consider non-mainstream Buddhist teachings. And so it gives opportunity to sort of highlight this quote as an example of really right Buddhism. It's easy to lose sight of the core practices that we're aiming for. You know, we get caught up in theory and well, argumentation really. And there's so many new doctrines, new practices, new ideas. The idea that things have to be, that there is a degradation, or more it seems that the old stops working, and so rather than try to figure out what we're doing wrong, we change the parameters. And so on a sort of the microscopic or the personal level, an example of this is where we lose sight of mindfulness, and something happens and we're unable to resolve the situation. For example, we might have bright lights or colors arise. We might have rapturous experiences of excitement in the body or in the mind. We might have sounds or smells or tastes and feelings. We might have thoughts that arise that we don't know how to deal with. And we lose sight of the very basic practice, we can get lost in exceptional experiences. The 10 upakilesas are good examples of these. As some of them I mentioned actually here. Or we can get caught up in trying to find causes for our problems and creating stories for, well, I'm this way because of this and this and this. A lot of people come with the idea that they're stuck in their practice. I hear that a lot. I've just gotten stuck in my practice, which is probably in 90% of the cases, it's just a wrong focus, having lost focus of the core practice. And there's no way to get stuck. There's no such thing as being stuck. I mean, we're all stuck. We're stuck in these bodies. We're stuck with these minds that are imperfect, malfunctioning. And so it's not really a matter even of getting unstuck. And so in the situation, it's about getting unstuck in our reactions to the situation. So if you're stuck, what you should really be asking is, does that bother you? Does it bother you that you're stuck? How do you feel about that? Do you identify with that experience? And moreover, I guess, what do you mean by being stuck? Because that's just a concept, and it gets back to this idea of losing sight of what's really happening. There's no, what does it mean? You have something sticky on your fingers? No. When you say I'm stuck, it doesn't mean anything really. It's a conclusion that you come to. It's not an observation. Observations are momentary. They arise and they cease. There's nothing to stick to. The only thing sticky is our reactions to things. All of this, I mean, it relates to this quote because of how simple the quote is. If you have these 8 things, that's all you need. You're reading that question and you're wondering, yeah, what is it that leads to Nirvana? What do you need to get? You're like, oh, right, it's just the Eightfold Noble Path. And it's kind of almost anticlimactic because you think, well, there must be more than that. And that's it, that's old news. And this is why people create new teachings, new ideas, because, well, yeah, I know the Eightfold Noble Path, but there must be something more than that, right? Besides the Eightfold Noble Path. It's like, I remember I went to a teacher once and I was really sort of depressed about my situation, and I'd gotten real trouble with with a layman who was my teacher at the time. They were saying all sorts of nasty things about me, and I felt kind of like, gee, maybe I'm an evil person. So I went to this one of the monks and I said, how do you know if you're an evil person? I was really at my wit's end. And he gave this very stock answer. He said, well, there are these 10 types of evil, the akusala kamapada, which are, and they relate actually to the Eightfold Noble Path in some ways, basically wrong action, wrong speech, and wrong thought. And he said, if you're breaking any of those, that's evil. And I thought about it and I said, well, what if you're okay with all of those, but you still feel like you're an evil person? It's like that kind of, it was a silly question, really. We think too much about things. We think there's a problem. I think something's wrong. When in fact it comes down to reality. Is it good or is it bad? Is it right? Is it wrong? It is or it isn't. Very simple. The Dhamma is very simple. And so I made a statement about one text recently as being sophistic, sophism. And that's disagreeable to people who like that text, and I understand that. It's probably problematic to be bringing these things up on the internet, but the point is this, this is not sophistic, this is simple. There's no high or exalted teachings here. There's a perfect teaching, and it's a very simple teaching. Right view. Do you understand the Four Noble Truths? Do you know what is suffering? Do you know those things that are suffering? Do you know them as suffering? Well, basically when you do, you give up the cause of suffering. But do you understand the cause of suffering? Do you understand the cessation of suffering? Do you understand the path that leads to the cessation of suffering, which is the Eightfold Noble Path? That's right view. If you know those things, that's really, it's quite simple, There's nothing complicated about it. The taste of the Dhamma, the taste of this Eightfold Noble Path, or this small quote, the flavor of it is unique. You can. This is why when you read these texts, you can smell something right away when it's fishy. You know when something is not like this, you can catch it. The right thought. Someone's trying to... How strange. You see, I get called day and night. Right thought, so you don't have thoughts without greed. We went over this a few days ago. Thoughts without greed, thoughts without anger, thoughts without delusion. Right speech, not lying, not backbiting, not or gossiping, not refraining from harsh speech, refraining from useless speech. Right action, not killing, not stealing, not cheating. Right livelihood, not engaging in wrong speech or wrong action for your livelihood. Right effort, the effort to prevent and eradicate unwholesome states, and to cultivate and maintain or protect wholesome states. Right mindfulness means mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of feelings, mindfulness of the mind, mindfulness of the Dhammas. And right concentration means concentration that frees you from the 5 hindrances, usually equated to the 4 jhanas, or concentration that is associated with the other 7 path factors. However you look at it, it's quite simple, quite straightforward, pure in that sense. There's nothing extra, there's nothing quirky or controversial even about it. This is why the Buddha said any religion which has this Eightfold Noble Path in it, consider that to be the religion where you'll find enlightened beings. If a religion is without these Eightfold Noble Path factors, and consider that religion is not going to have enlightened beings. These are the things that lead to nirvana. By nirvana means freedom from suffering. That's explicitly, literally what nirvana means. It's not something it's not something hard to understand either, which I guess that's one thing you could look at this and say, oh, yeah, those Buddhists, they believe in this state called nirvana. It's just their belief. It's not a belief, it's a term that refers to freedom from suffering, cessation of suffering. And that's not a belief. We have a belief that that's attainable. Most people would argue that it's not attainable. Okay, we have a belief that it's attainable. That's our belief. It's a claim. You want to find out? Well, here's 8 things that you should do. Cultivate these 8 things. you can see for yourself whether there is such a thing as freedom from suffering, cessation of suffering. Okay. That's the Dhamma for tonight. And Vanessa's back from Austria. Vanessa's back. Robin left. More people coming? I don't know. We have room if anyone wants to come and do a course here. We also have room on the meeting pages. If anyone wants to do an online course, which is really a great way to start. I mean, if you want to learn how to meditate, if you want to start, but coming to do a intensive course seems too daunting, or you don't have the ability to come out here, do an online course. It's a good way to start. Good way to get a maybe to get a basic understanding of the teaching. Sorry. Anyway, so that's all for tonight. If anyone has questions, you're welcome to join the Hangout. Otherwise, we have someone on the Hangout. Someone with the name of Afixiant. Hello, do you have a question? Your mic is muted. You have to unmute yourself. I can't hear you or see you. You can go. We'll meet tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Friday. We'll meet tomorrow at 5. I should give you the first paper. You have 10 days?
More until Monday next week. So is it 12 days?
Good.
Yeah, by 11 something.
You've done these before, no? You did these last time you were here, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Good.
Everything you need? What happened to your foot?
Yeah, I sure.
Ah, you told me, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to sit, but it's okay. It's like went over, but it's a bit better.
How about walking? Walking is okay?
Yeah, I mean, I can't move it completely, but I think it's okay.
Okay, well, don't strain it. Do what you can.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
Okay.
And yeah. Oh, it's so. That's kind of it's so like overwhelming to come back here. It's like so many things. I don't know. It's amazing.
How are things back home?
Well, I think it was kind of hard actually. I never really tried to work with it, like to really. But it's I'm like from my family. This maybe you heard like the most for them it's so scary when I don't want to do anything. When I just like when I came back, I just wanted to sit and I didn't want to go out. These things that I used to.
Yeah, my family was the same. They called me a zombie.
Yeah, me too.
Oh well. And but did you lose your job? Did that go? No, you're okay.
I still have it, but it's.
Yeah.
I have. In me, there's like something. I kind of like, I feel like I have to be like stronger, you know, like so that it's kind of like my decision, but it's like in a thunderstorm in a way.
What do you mean?
I have to be there like 8 to 10 hours, and it's like really in front of the computer, and they are very.
That's. You think of it as a duty, you know.
Yeah.
If I don't do it, I don't eat. If I don't do it, I don't live. So you do it. Just don't remember, it's all about our reactions. We're not so concerned about our situation. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't be as mindful when you're working many hours a day, but take time after work, between, at lunch and so on, to recenter yourself, get yourself more mindful. And eventually you'll just shave off your hair and become a monk. And then you'll have no problem. Well, maybe not this life, but hey, if you want to this life, although
yeah, it's like there's still a part of me that is always attached. There's like to the normal world, and then at the same time, I'm already an alien there, so it's strange.
Take your time. It'll come by itself.
Yeah.
Mindfulness is, stay on the path. Everything else is just details.
And it takes me here, actually.
Wow.
I'm really lucky because
I'm glad to have you.
it gets so entangled sometimes. Like, they play these games. It's like, like trying to make enough pressure so that all people keep working more and more and like interacting. And I like them all because I see that they're not, I see that they're all suffering and everything. It's just still, I noticed that still I can't really stay that conscious. Like in the evening when I come home, I'm like a dead fly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know. Periods, I don't know.
Do what you can. Do what you can with what you got. But that's the thing, if you stay in the world, you got to deal with that. I mean, you're lucky. Some people have really hard, right? Some countries, some places, it's quite scary, actually. Very little opportunity for reflection and mindfulness.
That's true.
But, it's the what do they call it? You have to, think of the word. It's not perfect. You live in the world, so you can't be mindful all the time. You have to work, you have to interact. I'm glad you're here. We'll get started. We'll talk again tomorrow at 5.
Yeah.
Okay? Get settled in. You ready to start, or you want to start tomorrow? Or are you okay to start now? You've got time. You don't have to start tonight if you want to take it easy in the beginning.
Yeah, I'll see.
Okay.
I will do.
See how it goes. You're still jet lagged, I guess. You flew today, You have lots of time. If you don't want to start today, you can start tomorrow. We can meet. You can meet the next day.
No.
But we can meet tomorrow. But if you don't want to switch, we can. If you don't do enough practice on this one, we'll meet tomorrow at 5 either way.
I will do enough.
Oh, you see how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, I will see, but I'm ready.
You're ready?
I might go to sleep soon, but I wake up early.
Good.
Because it's night already. It's something like 3 o'clock.
Yeah, go ahead. You know where food is, everything. It's all.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
There's lots of food. If you need anything special, let us know. If there's anything missing in the food or something.
No, just what I heard, like when I just tell me when there's something to do, like I don't know, cleaning, washing, whatever. This is really fun for me. Yeah,
there's really not. I don't really know. There's not much. Just it's good if you make sure, like if something needs You see something's dirty or needs sweeping or so on, great. If you have
Yeah.
time, if you have time every day to do a little bit of sweeping or a little bit of something, it's good.
And if there's something you just tell me, you should. It's easier.
Okay. We're getting a blender, so you can make, there's frozen fruit, you can make smoothies if you want. Yeah. Frozen fruit's apparently easiest because it doesn't go bad.
Yeah.
So there's Robin brought frozen fruit.
Oh,
When we get the thing, you can, I don't know how it works, but you just make smoothies.
Yeah. I'm figuring it out. I'm thinking about it.
Okay, good. All right, have a good night.
You too.
See you tomorrow. All right. Try to figure out what's going on here. I've had like 3 people trying to call me. Is this people actually trying to get, or is this just a malfunction of my phone? People actually trying to get into the, if you're trying to get into the Hangout, if you're watching this and thinking, how can I join? How can I join? You have to click on the link. There's a link.
Really, I know. I didn't. I tried it twice.
No, I'm talking to people actually on the internet right now.
Oh,
There's people watching this.
oops, sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
I know you don't have to pay attention to this. But there's people, I think, trying to get on. If you want to get on, you have to go to meditation.sirimangalo.org and click on the link. It's the only way. Good night. And since no one's joining except for this mute and mysterious pictureless person, I think we're going to say good night. If you were trying to get on, try again tomorrow. Good night, everyone.